Hi guys, it won't be a second. Just trusty scissors. There we go. Okay, so it's a stitch along video, the very first one of actual stitching today. I'm sorry I'm a little bit late, it is half term here and I managed to get a splinter up one of my nails from moving a basket and just needed a minute to calm. So here we are. So the last video I did a prep video just to show you how to prep your fabric ready for stitching today. Here we have the lovely PDF. Hello! Here we have the lovely PDF. So if you haven't got it, it's still not too late to get it. It won't be too late to get it at all because you can catch up on the videos. You get all the information of what you need. You can also watch the prep video, tracing your design, and then you also get the, the pattern as well. So I think everybody has traced it and we're good to go. So if you bought the kit or if you printed it, it'll look quite dark like this. If you've traced it, you would have added your watercolour to the background and traced your design. And this is how I did it last time. So I'm just going to show you how I take it back out of the hoop because I like to lay it flat on top of the pattern for tracing, like that. It doesn't move about. Perfect way to do it. So this is how I get it back out and this way around. So I'm just going to loosen off the hoop. I can pull that out actually. Okay, I'm just going to loosen that for putting it back on. And then I'm going to use some fabric stabiliser behind. You can use double cotton fabric. You can use another coloured cotton fabric. I like to use a lighter one, especially if I'm using white on the top. And then you sandwich your pattern and you sandwich your stabiliser within the fabric. So it can seem a bit fiddly, but I find this the best way to transfer your design. Just like that. I'm just going to loosen it a bit more because it's a bit thicker going back on. Hi Rachel. Rachel is my very good friend that we went to school together. Rachel, remind me to tell you later that my mum found my old school reports. They were enlightening. I'll send some pictures of what Mr. Gittins said about my science. So there we go. So we're going to get that straight in there. Just going to give it a little pull to the side. Tie it a bit tighter. And we're going to go all the way around the edge. Pulling your fabric through. There we go. I want to bring all the way around. It should sound like a drum. Yes, Rachel, I will send them over. My mum took screenshots and sent them. There's a lot of teachers whose names I do not remember as well. And they were my teacher for like a year, so I don't know how I've forgotten that information, but I will send them over, but they are funny. So, there we go. So, you have either got this one, or you have got this one that's been traced. I'm going to start with this one. I'll probably stitch intermittently on both, so feel free to kind of watch along. So this is the lovely stand that I've got here. This is a Lowry work stand. I've had a number of work stands over the years and this one is just brilliant. Not only can you get them in lovely bright colours, and not only can you get them in a mix of colours, so this part's teal, you have a part on the leg, and then you have the stand as well. You can mix up the colours as well. You can get custom ones. Brain fog, Rachel. Do not get me started. Especially in the holidays. Holidays always seem a little bit worse. I actually should have started the live at 5 and I was just putting a basket back on top of the wardrobe and then got this massive splinter stuck under my nail. So I just needed a minute. Okay, so today we're going to start up here in the sky we're going to go with some, I know we're going straight in with what people find hard, but I want you to trust me, and I've got you, okay? So we're going in with some French knots, but I'm also going to teach you how to do some colonial knots as well. Don't jump off the live. I know they're not everybody's favourite, but they're my favourite, and I want you to love them as much as me. Okay, hi! So we're going to go. So first of all, we'll start off with something lovely and soothing and relaxing, and we'll do some lovely running stitches, just like these here. Now, as you can see on this design, it's slightly different here. We went with this design, so do not worry. We're going to add some of these in as well, but we're just going to make it a bit more interesting in between. But we're going to go with some running stitch. Now, I know running stitch is really simple. It's one that everyone can everyone recognises, most people know. It's an easy one to begin with, but we are going to use this variated thread, which is hand embroidery thread, and it's multicoloured. So we're going to play around with the colours a little bit. Okay. So I like to hold one end between my fingers. I like to pull to my elbow, and that's the length that I like to work with. I'm going to go a little bit longer so I don't have to keep knotting off underneath. But as you can see, in that thread we've got light blues and dark blues, and it all mixes throughout. So, hi Tori! So we're going to split our threads. So for anyone that's a beginner, embroidery threads usually come with 6 strands. And we're going to work with, let's work with 4. So this is a tip that I have got for not getting in a knot when you split your threads. So you're going to just separate them a little at the end. You're going to hold on to one of them and you're going to pull it through. Like that. I'm going to lay that across there. And then we're going to go with... Tori, are you saying that the work's gorgeous or that I'm gorgeous? I just have to be sure. Okay, there's 2. 3. And 4. And you see, we don't get in a knot. There's the rest of it in there. It just all unravels. And this also gets the twists and turns out of your thread. You can see that's one strand and it's a twisted one. So if you do that, you find you get all of your strands lying nicely. See here, you've got a bit of a curl here. So we're going to give it a smooth down. And because we're playing around with the colours, as you can see, I have got a lighter end and a darker end. So I'm going to mix those 2 together, just because I want a little bit of colour. She means both, of course. I thought you did, Tori. I thought you did. There we are. So there's another one with a lighter end. And then again, I feel like I'm in a really cheeky mood today. I've got to really keep a handle on this today and concentrate. And we're going to put one darker one. So let me show you that again. So we've got variated thread. And we've now mixed them up a little bit. So now we've got different colours running throughout the length. Oh, let's go with the, there. Put my hands behind it. See if we can get you in focus. There. Okay, so we're going to thread our needle. Now I like to use 2 different needle threaders. One with a smaller hook and a bigger hook on the other end, and one that you can push through the needle. So this one, if you're using less than 6 strands, you can kind of get away with using this one depending on the eye of your needle. This one's a 3, I think. So really you should use 3 strands, but we're going to go with 4 because why not? So I'm going to put the hook through the eye of the needle. I'm going to then hook the end of my thread on. I'll show you again. Like that. And then I'm going to give it a wiggle and a pull, and it pulls through your needle like that. Okay. And then at the end of my thread, we're going to create a knot so that when you pull it through the fabric, it doesn't pop back through. And this is how I do my knot. This is a quilter's knot. So you're going to make a T shape on your forefinger like that. You're going to hold the length and you're going to wrap around once, twice, and you can see you've got those two little wraps. I'm going to pinch them and I'm going to use my thumb to push the needle through the little wraps. I'm still holding the wraps in between these fingers. I'm going to wiggle my needle through and give it a pull. And there's my double knot at the end. I'll show you that again. Let's give that a little snip. So we're going to hold your okay. Tori, the inside of my mind's chaotic. You should have seen what I was like before I went on live. So we're going to go slow again. So this is my stitching hand. So I'm going to hold my needle between these two fingers, like I'm eating a sandwich in Buckingham Palace Gardens. Okay, little finger sticking out. And then I'm going to make a little T shape with the end of the thread and my needle. Got a little T shape there. I'm going to use the length of thread. I'm going to wrap around the needle once and twice. And then I'm going to just hold onto those two loops on my needle like that. I'm going to use my thumb to push the needle through. You can feel your needle wiggling through those two loops. Just release the tension, give them a wiggle. And then you're going to keep pulling your needle through, pull your needle through, pull, 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 pull. And there's your knot at the end. So it might take a bit of practice, but you literally are good to go. Okay, so let's start on these little dotted lines here with a lovely running stitch. Running stitch is so simple, so easy, and it's dead calming. It's so simple to do. So one way I find where I'm going to come up, sometimes you can push away with your needle. I just put a little bit of pressure on my needle and drag my needle. That's fancy. Do you mean how I eat my sandwiches, or how I... Not so chaos. I love a quilter's knot. I learnt it from Michelle Staub, Stitching Sabbatical, and I didn't know what the name of the knot was until I taught some lovely quilters, a group of quilters. They came for a workshop. I can't remember what the lady's name was, but she was 90, and I showed her how to do the knot, and she said, I've not seen a quilter's knot in years. And I said, is that what it's called? It was such a lovely day. They were like such talented, amazing women. Who, some of them did quilting by hand. There's a lot of running stitch in quilting as well. But it was just so nice. Yeah, so quilter's knots are amazing. I do have a video somewhere on my feed. If I can find it, I'll reshare it to stories or pin it to the top of my grid, and then you can practice them. Okay, so let me see if I can zoom in a little bit more. There we go. So I'm just going to cover each of these little markings. And you can see the colours coming through there. Running stitch is a lovely stitch. I don't think we do it often enough really in hand embroidery. I think we can focus too much on the really fancy stitches and forget like just how easy and like pretty some of the simpler ones are, especially with a variator thread like this. There we go. I'm just going to, you can see that my fabric's just bagging a bit there. I'm just going to take this back out. I'm going to tighten it up. There we go. Tighten this knot a little bit. I can't bear the fabric being baggy when I'm stitching. So I'm going to... Now, you can get a screwdriver to do that. I did just use some hand embroidery scissors. Don't do that. Use a screwdriver for safety and because embroidery scissors are precious and you don't want to ruin them. But no one saw me do that. Okay. Where's that needle gone? Here we go. So we're going to carry on doing our stitches like this. So as I'm stitching away there, feel free to ask any questions or chat away in the box. Let me know what you've been doing today. Like I said, it's half term for us. Second week of half term. And the weather is set to change tomorrow. So it's set to be rainy, I think. 77% chance of rain tomorrow. Which is quite sad because we had like the most amazing sunny week last week. The blossom on the trees has just gone crazy. It's so pink and so fluffy. It's been gorgeous. Really, really gorgeous. We've been sat out in the garden. Picnics, walks. It's been really, really nice. So there you can see the colours are coming through. Quite mixed there. I'm going to show you this other one that I did here. You can see here I didn't swap the colours over, I just stitched as they came out. And you can see that they're quite blocky, which is still quite a nice like overall texture, but you can see they're quite separate. Whereas here you can see I've mixed them. So throughout your design you can feel free to mix up your colours or stitch with set colours. You could use darker shades of the blue. Let me zoom back out a little bit. You could use some of the darker shades of the blue to work down at the bottom. You could go lighter, whichever way. Have a good play. I'm at work for dual monitors. Do you work from home? Dual monitors. Oh wow, that's so cool. I'm enjoying my child being away with the grandparents. Oh my gosh. Oh wow. I've seen lots of grandparents actually out and about with the kiddos. So cute. We saw the grandparents at weekend, which was so nice. The kids are still not too old for Easter eggs. They've got a lovely Easter egg each. I'm excited for those. I'm just going to, I can feel my thread now is starting to get a little bit twisty, so I'm just going to smooth my needle around the back there just to smooth out those twists. There, can you see that one there? Let me move the camera a bit. You can see I've got a little twist in here, one slightly longer than the other, so the way I get them back to how they should be is I bring my needle back down. I work in office but I'm on my own so no one can hear. You devil. I love it. There we are. Right, let me show you how I do this. So when I find that my threads get twisty and they don't lie flat, I like to bring my needle up and down and just smooth them back down again so they lie nice and flat again. There. And then I'm going to start at this bottom one here and work back along this line. Oh, drinking your coffee, that's so cool. Honestly, I know I sound like a broken record, but I find it amazing that we can kind of chat and kind of tune in from different time zones. I just think it's crazy. Like after I finish this live, I'm going to make dinner. We're having spag bowl tonight. So I'm going to make dinner for the kids and then we'll probably settle down and watch a film tonight. And yet you guys are just getting ready for your day. It's crazy. I think it's so cool. So there we are. So I'm not going to finish this all the way down because I think watching somebody do running stitch can get a little bit boring. So I'm going to show you French knots and Colonial knots. But I am really enjoying doing this running stitch, so I'm just going to do a few more. In fact, before I finish the running stitch, I'm just going to show you what you can do with the last two. So you know how I split the threads and I use 4 in this one. So we've got 2 left here. So I'm going to show you how I would use these up. Let me come to the bottom here. I'm just going to unthread that needle. So I have got 2 strands left here. They're the lighter colour here, going through to darker. I haven't mixed these 2 up, but you can still see they're quite twisted around each other. So I'm just going to separate them as I did before and get rid of any twists. And then I'm going to lie them together. And I'm going to double it over whilst I stitch. So put this needle threader through. There. So usually you would leave 1 short tail and 1 long tail, but because we're stitching with 4, I'm going to double them up. So there's the needle, and there's the end. I'm going to trap all 4 ends together, and whilst we're here I'll show you the quilter's knot for the end. So again, we're going to make a T-shape, wrap once, wrap twice, pinch and push through. I have just been trying to make my printer with. But I might have to give up and trace it. So I was saying to Mel, she's printing hers on Fabrisolve, which is absolutely fine to do. I'm not sure if you saw the prep video, but with the prep video, I showed you how to print with Fabrisolve, or told you that you could print with Fabrisolve, and then you can add your colour afterwards. So using watercolour pencils, you can just colour in the fabric. You don't have to touch it with water, so it would be absolutely fine. So here you can see I went in between the lines here with green. So if you want to print it on Fabrisolve, feel free to print it on Fabrisolve, because it will work both ways. You can still add colour afterwards, so please don't worry about that. So there you can see I have doubled over, and in this case I would stitch with 4 that way. Then you're not wasting those 2, and you're not kind of like waiting until you've done another length, taken 4 out and then putting the 2 together. It just means that you don't have lots of strands lying around, so I like to kind of stitch like that. Okay, are we ready for my favourite stitch, French knots? I can hear the cheers from across the oceans and up and down the country. I love French knots, and I would love it if you love them too. You might not, but we're going to give them a go. One of my favourite things about doing workshops is teaching people how to do French knots, people feeling like they're not going to be able to do it, and that feeling of, oh, I did it, once you've actually managed to get that French knot in place. I printed mine direct onto the fabric. You are clever. I wondered how you'd done it. I saw yours. It looks so cool. Did you use an A4, like, what are they called? Labels. Stick it to the back of your fabric and then put your fabric through the printer. Yeah, it's a great way to do it, isn't it? Obviously I can't advise you to do that because I don't want anybody to mess up the printer, but it is a really cool way of doing it. Right, French knots. We're going to use 6 strands. I've done my knot at the end, and we're going to fill a cloud. So again, just to see where I'm coming up, I'm going to bring my needle up, and I'm going to, here's my stitching hand, I'm going to hold the length of thread here, and I'm going to make a T-shape like that. I'm going to use my non-stitching hand to wrap once, wrap twice, and then I'm going to turn my needle back down right next to that entry point there. Okay, now I should be able to leave that where it is. When you do a French knot, it's all in the tension. So if I was to pull my needle through now, you can see I've got this loop that's up my needle. That needs to be pushed right down. It needs to be sat on top of the fabric, and the tension needs to be pulled away. That needs to be sat like that. You should be able to leave your needle stood up. It's babysitting your little wraps. You're going to leave them sat there, and you're going to then pull your needle through. You hear a little pop and pull through like that, so it sits on top. We're going to go again. Hi Marilyn, you're from Tennessee. What time is it there for you, Marilyn? Hi McFreds. So we're going to hold the length of your thread here. I'm going to make a T. I'm going to wrap once and twice, and then I'm going to turn my needle back down just next to that entry point there. I'm going to let my needle look after those two wraps. You can see that they're not quite touching the fabric, so I'm going to push them down, and as I push them down I'm going to pull the slack away there. If you pull too tight, you'll strangle the eye of your needle and you won't be able to pull it through. Okay, so it's all in the tension, it just takes a little bit of practice. So at this point now, oh, I got stuck there, it's a blue thread. Okay, I'm going to pull that through. I'm just going to hold it as it guides it down, and there's your French knot in the middle. Okay, I'm going to show you a few more. And you're just going to keep going until you're filling in this space. It will take you a while. The next live's on Wednesday, so please don't worry about rushing to get it done. We can always come back up and add to. This is probably the longest section to do with the clouds. Everything else, all the other ones are quicker stitches, but we can keep coming back to the French knots. You can give your fingers a break, but if you love them like me, you might just want to crack right on and keep doing them. So pop and pull through. You can see there I have just got that stuck there, and the next one I'm going to put quite close. I'm going to go 1, 2, turn the needle down, stand the needle up, and then sort out my tension again. I'm going to give it a little pull. And there we go. So I'm going to do a couple more. Sorry, I'm late. Do not worry. Never panic about being late to them. Please don't worry. I was 10 minutes late starting as well. Please don't worry. So I don't know whether you can hear in the background. I'm stood up as I'm stitching. I'm just looking forward out of the window, and there's a little boy who looks like it must be his birthday, and he's got a new bike, and he has got 4 cheerleaders cheering him on. He's got, it looks like dad and maybe 3 brothers, or maybe an uncle and 2 brothers cheering him on and helping him riding this bike. It's so cute. Okay, back to stitching. Sorry about that. So round and round, needle down, and we're going to sort out that tension there. Pull. So can we have a show of hands? Who here likes French knots? So when I do this one here, you can see there's only a small amount of space here. So I'm going to wrap just once, because I just want a small French knot, just to fill that space there. And if you want to add more texture, I've left a little loop from the back that's popped up there. Oh yeah. So you can see there, that one's just a little bit smaller than the others, but it fits in that gap. Don't hate them, but can't say I love them. Okay. Have you tried Colonial Knots? Because I'll show you those now. I like them. I love them. They remind me of, you know, when you're baking a cake and you do the labour of love of getting the ingredients, mixing the ingredients, making the cake, and then at the end when it's all done you get that final bit of pleasure where you get to sprinkle all the little sprinkles on top, the colourful sprinkles. That's what they remind me of. Like, they're just that joy. I don't mind French knots, just hate when I'm in this swing of it. Yes, cutting the back out is a nightmare, because they do not, obviously, don't they? So I was going to just finish this little bit here, and then I'm going to show you Colonial Knots. And it's just a different way of twisting it around your needle. Don't like the name. And after I did a post on my Instagram feed asking people whether they preferred French or Colonial Knots, it is actually from the colonial days. So yeah, not the best of the history, but Becca, I sent you a message. I will see you after the live with your kit. Becca literally lives a 20-minute walk away, but I'm going to drive. So there we are. I'm going to finish there. Now, let me show you. Reminds me of the candle wicking. That was the in thing when I was young. Oh, I'll have to have a look. I'm sure I've heard that mentioned. Candle wicking. And all the mum. Wait, it's cushion covers. I'm sure that came up when I was doing the research on the Colonial Knots. Is that right? Am I right in thinking that? Okay, let's just do one more here because I can feel my threads are getting a little bit scratchy. So 1, 2, put one more in there, and then we'll do some Colonial Knots. You might prefer how these. Oh, there we go. Okay, I'm just going to turn this over and find out what's going on at the back because I can feel a little bit of mess. Let's just cut those. Let's set them free. Let's cut them away. Okay. Colonial Knots. I love the way that these feel when you stitch them, and I feel like you have more control over the tension with Colonial Knots. Picture of the candle wick. Oh yeah, please, I'd love to see that, and I'll share it on my stories as well if you tag me in it. I remember something came up with that when I was doing the research on it. So same as before, you're going to thread your needle. And we're going to do a quilter's knot in the end. Okay, now Colonial Knots. I'm going to go down this end. In fact, I'll do one quite close to this French knot so you can see. Looks slightly different. Okay, I'm going to pull up here. Zoom out a little bit so I like to teach it. I like to have a story as I'm teaching you, so we're going to cross over the thread, put it in bed and wrap it up. And then you can see there, you can move that tension up and down the needle. Let me show you in a different, okay. So you're going to pull that away with this non-stitching hand, turn your needle in, pull away the tension, and you still hear that pop. Let me zoom in so you can have a little look at that. So they look very similar. Very similar. Okay, let's do another one so you can see how my hands do it. So come back up here. We're going to cross it over. So you've got a nice little kiss there across. Put it in bed. Tuck it up. And then pull your needle down. Push in. And then this hand here just pulls away that slack. Can you see it hits the fabric straight away? And this is why some people find this Colonial knot a lot easier than French knots, because you don't have to faff around with the tension, and the tension is where you'd get a baggy knot. If the tension is not taken away, the knot will look open. So again, cross, put it in bed, tuck it up, needle through, pull away and down. So I'm going to show you that just in real time so you can catch how my hands are going. So cross, under, wrap, down. I'm going to keep these close together, and the bundle looks slightly different. Just pull the thread through from behind. So cross, under, wrap, pull, down. What do you think of the Colonial compared to the French? Again, cross, under, wrap, needle, pull the slack away, and pop. I'm going to just pull my needle down. Can you see I've got those twists there now in the thread? I'm just going to pull that away. Daniel's just got home. Hopefully one of the kids will say, hopefully one of the kids will say, Daddy, Mummy is upstairs doing a live. Don't just come running into the bedroom. I don't think anyone's told him. Oh, there's a shush. Did you hear that then? Okay. So, Colonial, cross, under, wrap, pull it down your needle, tuck your needle down, pull the slack away, and pop. There we go. So then to finish off the cloud, I'm going to mix up some French knots in here as well. I'm going to do 2 there because it's quite a big space. I can fit one in here as well. I want to make sure I'm going to cover all the marked lines of the cloud. I'm just going to do 1 wrap there because I want it to be nice and small. I'm going to have to watch this again tonight when I'm actually... Yeah, definitely do. You can pause. I'll actually upload this one and the last one to YouTube now so that you can pause and rewind and you can speed them up as well. Have you tried Colonial Knots before? Can you do 3 wraps? Yes, you can. Let me show you one with 3 wraps. So the more wraps you do, the bigger the knot. Let me just zoom here because you don't need to watch me do it, but you can see the difference. So let's do one with 3 wraps so you can see what that one looks like. Are you thinking of getting this filled in quicker? That would be a really clever way to go, but you would have a chunky cloud. But you can do 3 wraps. Let me show you that. I'm going to need more coffee for this one. Okay, 1, 2, 3. And pull, pop. So you can see it stands up a little bit higher. Quite a chunky one. Should we go with 4? Let's have a look. Let's go with 4. Because if you end up doing, say for example, I wrapped 7 times, you'd almost be making a bullion knot. It would end up curling over like a caterpillar. I can show you. Let me have a look. Let's go. That was 3, wasn't it? So 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's also harder to pull your... There's a 4. But as you can you see here, this is really wanting to pull over. I really want to try a 7 now. Gosh, you're making me really naughty. I should be sticking to the script. Okay, let's go with the 7. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh my gosh, no. Let's see what happens. Pop, pop, pop. Oh, there. Okay. Yeah. So can you see? 4 is 6. But look at that one. It's kind of like made like a little caterpillar, which could be quite nice. Imagine if you did them all with 7, you'd need more thread. But that looks quite nice, doesn't it? Imagine having lots of those all kind of turning opposite ways. It's like a bullion knot, isn't it? 7's too far. Oh my goodness. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Let's go back with 3. So let's do a 3 next to it so we can see what that looks like. Pop. Yeah, look how nice and tiny that one is. 7 is huge. And it does really stick out. It is almost like a bully knot. Look, it's like really kind of curved over. I might find a cheats way to do the bullion knots there. I really want to go with 8 and 9, but I'm not going to because that's not what we're doing. Back. Oh my god, you guys are so bad. Okay. I'm going to finish off with a colonial. So we've got a 7, a 4, a 3, and a colonial next to it. Tuck it under and wrap once, tuck and down. There we go. So you've got plenty there to have a little practice with and a little play with. I'm going to have to go back through and take some of these bits out because that cloud is looking wacky. Stick to the screens. I feel like this is going to end up going west. If you ask me to do something, I'm literally going to jump in and dare to do it. Okay. I will pick those out for the next one. But yeah, so that's what we've done today. We've done some lovely running stitches. I'm going to get the giggles now. We've done some lovely running stitches, back to being professional. We've done some French knots. We've done some bullion knots. We've messed about with adding more wraps to make them bigger. Not bullion knots, colonial knots. And we've accidentally made what looks like a caterpillar type bullion knot there by adding 7 wraps. Just to show you what happens when you add more and less. So I hope that was helpful, guys. Tomorrow, and not tomorrow, won't be in tomorrow, but feel free to send me your pictures, even little videos. I love seeing what you're up to. Feel free to send me whatever you've got, wherever you're up to. I'll be sharing it back onto my Instagram story so everyone else can have a little look. And I will see you back here at 5 o'clock on Wednesday, 5 o'clock UK time on Wednesday to work on the next part of this gorgeous stitch sampler. We've got so much to do. We've got so much time to spend together. This has been lovely. So I hope that was helpful. Let me know. I'll drop this on my Insta feed. I will also share it to YouTube. Ask any questions on the videos and I will speak to you all soon. Thanks for keeping me company, guys. Bye.